We have another very special episode here because we're joined by all of our mentors inside of Music Work Pro. Sheet music versus memorization.
The way I try to communicate with my team is, if this performance right now is a focal point for the band, let's try to be off book.
I defer to this thing that Brooke Lighterwood of Hillsong calls the confidence monitor.
I'm going to differ from you guys.
We could learn to loosen up a little bit because we're freaking out because they're weirdly syncopated and we're just so focused on what does Bruno Mars mean? What's your guys' approach to pricing?
I very much agree with that upfront range to get what I call permissive selling, where they give you permission to then create a proposal for them.
But what comes to mind when you think of what you would have told your younger self when you were getting into the industry?
Honestly, I would say dream bigger.
It's the only way you can lose is if you give up. You never know what can happen in time.
Interesting. You inchworm for so long in this world, and then all of a sudden you wake up and you're 10 or 15 years into this world, and those inches turn into miles.
It's kind of a cliche, but I would say to that younger self, you really need to treat this more like a business.
I found the financial breakthrough happened when I located the exact coordinate where musicianship and energy management crossed.
Man, those are both really good. Oh gosh.
Welcome to Music Work Backstage, my friends. We are high-level musician community. We're going to go behind the scenes with real music pros here, guys. So buckle up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Quick intros. This is our second time doing it, but let's give some quick intros. Got Rich from Ever After band leader, incredible band from New Jersey, New York. Mike, guitar singer from Pittsburgh. Great to see you, Mike. Tyler Saxophone DJ from LA, and Grant, looping artist from New York. So thank you all for being here. We are going to dig into some community questions, some questions that have been coming up inside of our community that I thought we could spend a little bit of time digging into, and you guys could share your expertise. So question number one is from our friend Jared. And he's asking about sheet music versus memorization. Six-figure music pros, what's your approach? We can see in this poll here that a lot of people like to memorize, but it's pretty equally split. So what's your approach to sheet music versus memorization? What do you think the clients matter? Care about it? What do you guys have to say about that?
I'm kind of surprised, actually, that there was a little bit more for the I prefer to memorize. I think that sheet music is a total game changer. If you can memorize, it's very impressive, and it's the kind of thing that's super great, especially if you're doing something like a wedding engagement, like a proposal or something like that. It can sometimes ruin the vibe if you're showing up with a stand and and some music, or a phone attached to something. But the brain power, I don't think I realized how much brain power I use on just trying to recall lyrics and chord changes and things like that until I started using sheet music in front of me all the time. And the downside of that, of course, is that there are songs that I play all the time that if you take the sheet music away from me, I suddenly seem to forget how to play it. But the upside, I think, is that you always have the ability to kind of bring your eyes back to that point of reference if you need it. And it is a skill to learn to use the sheet music to guide you, but not get lost in the iPad or the piece of paper or whatever. That's a really important thing. I'm sure Rich is probably extremely skilled at this because he's such a showman, but being able to engage with the audience but still have the sheet music as a reference point, I really noticed the difference in what it felt like I was able to level up my playing ability by having that visual reference instead of having to remember everything internally.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think too, I have a great point about the specialty performances and stuff, and to that point, I feel the same way. I feel like I'm totally cool with having references on stage. My guys, iPads on stage are totally fine. I just try to encourage not to get lost in the iPad because it's kind of easy. Sometimes you just kind of feel like you're locked into that. But the way I try to communicate with my team is, if this performance right now is a focal point for the band, let's try to be off book. If we're lost in the middle of a dance set and we're just cooking the crowd for an hour straight, then it's totally cool, especially if we're going to pull a one-off song. But if it's a song in the regular repertoire, we have a repertoire of over 6,000 songs. So it is a lot of brain power. It's a lot of steam, going to try to recall a song that you haven't played. And I might call a random song that we haven't played in 2 years, so I can't expect everyone to always be off book. But I think if what you're doing is a focal point of the moment, then I think being off book really lends itself better to putting on a better show.
Well, I'm going to differ from you guys. I don't sing lyrics, so I know it's different. For me, I never use sheet music. But my specialty is roaming and improvising and playing melodies or playing counter melodies and all of those things is very, very free flowing. And so for me, I think something that I really enjoy and that has helped me is having my eyes up because, we've all seen the musician in the corner doing this thing. It's just hard to connect with that, And so, again, I don't sing. And so if I was singing, I'd be like, I need my thing. Cause what if I forget the lyrics? So yeah, for people or quartets or bands who need that, I would say make sure that it's discreet and professional. Don't have a huge, ugly music stand with metal janky stuff and papers flapping around. Have an iPad on not a tripod stand, but a round base stand is very discreet, and have it below your eye line so that you can refer to it. But your eyes are up. And so those are some of my thoughts.
Tyler, I love in all your videos, I'm struck by the lack of sheet music and iPad assistance. I'm like, man, this guy's out there standing on a platform. There's an ocean behind him, ripping solos through challenging scales, not a piece of music in sight. I love that, man. I defer to this thing that Brooke Lighterwood of Hillsong calls the confidence monitor. It's there. I love that it's there. I don't use it, frequently, but if I need to look down and catch a chord change, it's usually a chord change. For whatever reason, I'll second guess myself on a chord change to a bridge or something. If I was only a vocalist, I wouldn't need the pad, the iPad. I would be able to just rock lyrics from memory. But for some reason, that whole singing and playing guitar thing, sometimes I just second guess myself from time to time. So I like to have what I call the confidence monitor, which is just an iPad a little bit. Yeah, like as Tyler mentioned, a little bit below the eyes, just in enough space to see it, but definitely not getting lost in it.
Love that phrase.
Yeah. And even if you are hanging out with the confidence monitor, and that's kind of your home base, as much as, and you guys have all done this, as much as you can get out from behind that in certain parts of the song, like, hey, I've got the chorus down for this song. I'm going to go out and roam around. Literally just the fact that you're walking around by people just elevates it so much. You don't have to get in everyone's face. You don't have to jump on a table. You can if the moment calls for that. But literally just departing from your safe space and getting out and moving around. I've had events where they want it really, really chill for a certain part of the thing. And so I'll be like, okay, I'm just going to barely glide through this space. And people love it because it's just something different. Visual. We're all auditory, but everyone else is very visual. And so if you can literally just glide around through the space on a solo, if you're taking a little solo looping, I know Grant, you do that a lot. Or if you want to go out and sing a part that you're very confident on, those are some other tips for other people watching.
I love that, Tyler. I've actually used that as training for some of my band members where I'll notice, there's a simple, a song that we've played, it's a go-to. My bass player, it almost becomes like this crutch where you're just so afraid if you look away from it, you're going to brain fart and blow the song. But I know he knows it. So there have been times where I'm like, I'll give him a let's hit the floor kind of thing. Let's walk away from the mic. And then we just both walk out and he's on a wireless and we're like, see, that wasn't so bad. So that's a great practice to kind of break away willingly and then come back, break away. And then next thing you know, you got it locked in. It's just second nature.
To represent string quartets here, we struggle with this so much. I get the photos back where I'm buried in the sheet music. And so, but even for us, it's something to work
very,
on.
Very true in the classical world. Yeah. The people you see it even the New York Philharmonic, people are out that you're locked in on the sheet music. Yeah.
We could learn to loosen up a little bit because like we're freaking out because like this easy rhythm is like written weirdly syncopated and like we're just so focused on like what does Bruno Mars mean? And it's like
these dotted 16ths.
What does Bruno Mars mean?
Yeah. You guys are good at, you got the vibe. The vibe is important.
Yeah, I feel like I need to take a lesson from everyone else here and try to. I realize one of the reasons I probably am locked in on my sheet music more than I would like is because I also run like my keyboard sounds are all kind of coming basically through my iPad. My iPad's functioning as a computer, so it's like I'm going to have it there anyway. I may as well have the sheet music up on it. But maybe my gig tonight, I'll just try turning off the sheet music for a while. and,
Test yourself.
Yeah,
I think this is just my own idea. I think there's a huge untapped market for quartets that can roam. And I know that's hard for like bigger instruments, especially cello and things like that. But if you can have people in matching like baller outfits roaming around and even just post up in different places, or like I've seen some videos where people are on pedestals. They'll have like 4 pedestals kind of surrounding the dining area and they all step up on it. And singers will do that a lot. I've not seen that for the quartet, where the quartet moves around. And whoever can figure that out, I think there's a big market for that.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, that's hard to like, because a lot of classical players are like sheet music. But if you can just say, if you can think more in keys, like, all right, we're G minor, we're E minor, we're F, we're C, that's the chord progression. Sure, I didn't play the perfect pizzicato, whatever. But if you just get the vibe and think of it more as a band than a quartet. I really think that's an untapped market.
Oh, it'll be so epic. And actually, Allison from Electria just went wireless. I'm so excited for her. I'm sure there'll be some. So she's on that trajectory. She knows how. Us classical players just need more practice jamming. That's what we need, is a healthy dose of just not being perfectionists. But I absolutely agree. That'd be so epic. Hey, real quick. If you're a musician who loves performing and loves creating incredible experiences for people at live events, then why not join us in the free Music Work community on School? It's a safe space for like-minded people with an active forum of hundreds of members from all over the world where you can connect, hang out, learn, and share. There's also a classroom where you can learn how to get booked for higher-end private events, a members map, and event page. There's no algorithms, no ads, just real musicians looking to grow together. And right now, when you join, you can also get a free standard profile on musicwork.com to help you connect with clients for private events and promote your public shows. To join, you can scan the QR code on the screen or simply click the link below in the description. See you there. But this next question here is from our friend Evelyn, and she's asking about song requests during events. So she kept getting asked about playing Devil Went Down to Georgia and fun things like that. How do you guys handle song requests, not even just on the spot? But I know, Rich, you were on a call yesterday with us and you were sharing how you help clients through the experience of choosing music and how you're actually doing them a disservice by like being too free in that regard and kind of giving them more boundaries. So curious to hear you guys' perspective when it comes to song requests at events with clients. How do you handle it?
Yeah, I would imagine Grant probably among, the 5 of us here probably gets inundated most with that kind of stuff based on, the way your act is set up. For myself, my philosophy on this is really simple. The room comes first. So if a guest comes up to me and I happen to know that the couple loves Bruno Mars, he's like the topic of the day. But if they're like, do you guys know, I Just Might? Absolutely. We got you. High five. And then now we've built a rapport with the crowd. They feel great. They feel taken care of. But if they come up and they request a song that I either personally know will not work for the night, just based on how the vibe is going, or the couple has specifically said no, I usually take the heat for that. I don't blame the couple. I'll either say, really sorry, we don't know that song. Or if they press and they're like, well, can you like DJ? Don't you have Spotify on your, system or whatever? Then I can be a little more honest and say, we've worked really closely with the couple, to get through a bunch of music that they absolutely love. If we've done that and there's some extra time, we can see if we can squeeze it in. And usually that'll stave them off for long enough that they're having such a good time. They forgot they even requested the chicken dance or whatever it might be,
Yeah, I totally I love that as a general rule. The room always comes first. And I try to find it is kind of a stressful question to be in the middle of a song, especially when I'm looping or I'm doing something like that's, occupying so many brain cells.
That's always when it comes, right?
Yeah. And there's someone's yelling a request at you, and to try to like navigate that in the kindest possible way, but also tell them no, is sometimes really difficult. I think what's relevant to Evelyn's question that I would also say is, I think Nick pointed this out, like get some requests up front, especially for weddings and things like that. Right. I have found that over time, it's much better for me to kind of give the same disclaimer to every client who books me, which is, listen, you're welcome to give me as many requests as you would like. But given the way that these things typically go, I almost never play a set list exactly how I've set it up. I always change things. I'm listening to the vibe of the room. I think that's what's good for you guys, for everyone. I might not get to everything you want. So the better thing to do is give me 5 to 10 artists or songs that you really, really love. And if there's anything you really don't want to hear, tell me that too. And I think that's the don't want to hear thing is also very important for the purposes of like what Evelyn was talking about. I have definitely been in the scenario before where someone requests a song and I play it and I can tell the bride hates it. like some people just have a bias against a certain artist or whatever. And they, you want to obviously prioritize that first. So make sure, and if you're doing cocktail hour, the DJ might be doing reception, right? He might have an entrance song. Someone might be asking you to play a song that is already included in the timeline somewhere else. So make sure you know that ahead of time too, and have that kind of in front of you. I have it usually easily accessible on my phone and on my iPad, like a list of do not play songs. I'm aware of what the DJ is going to play for their entrance music or for what, or different, cake cutting, what have you, and knowing those tunes. And then you can kind of work with requests around that. And my general policy is if someone will say, can I give you a request? And I'll say, I'm happy to play it if I know it, and usually that satisfies people. And if I don't know it, I can tell them that. Or if I really don't want to play it, I can say I don't know it.
Grant, I love what you said about knowing the other songs throughout the day. That is like such a next level thing that serves like the day as a whole. And a lot of people, I think, are like, hey, I'm playing Ceremony and that's it. And the rest of the day can handle itself. But that's a really like thoughtful, service-minded thing to like have the whole day in mind and not play their grand entrance song 10 minutes before their grand entrance. Yeah. I had 2 thoughts on this question. One is, so for me, when I'm DJing, doing the saxophone thing during dancing, that's usually when I get the most requests. And so I have the guys on my team kind of trained up to like field the questions so I can focus because it's like an Olympic sport doing all this stuff. I can't have a big side conversation. So they'll just write down the request. And what I've trained them to say is compliment the request. Say, oh, that's a great song. Love that song. Great idea. Like compliment them. Because if you just say, then they immediately feel defensive. And so compliment the song, write it down and say, love that song. We'll do our best to get to it tonight. And then as Rich mentions, if they press, well, can you do it? When can you do it? Da, da, da. Then that's when you say, hey, we have a lot of priorities that we've talked through with the bride and groom. We're going to focus on what they want first. And if we can get that in, we'll try to get it in at the right moment tonight. Yeah, because sometimes they want like a hip hop song that's definitely going to hit in like 30 minutes, but I'm not going to play right now. I'm going to wait for that. Where we going? So that was point number 1. Point number 2 is, especially for roaming musicians, if you can, I just did this recently where I was doing a cocktail hour and I had I forget what song I was playing, but this guy came up to me in the middle of the song and he was like, hey man, I love what you're playing, like awesome, da da da, hey, I'm whatever. And I was like, hey, all right, okay, hey, what's up, man? Nice to meet you. In the middle of playing. He's like, if there's any way you could play Henry Mancini, Pink Panther, the saxophone part, like I love that. And I was like, dude, I'll do my best to get that for you. All right, I'll catch you soon. And I kept playing. And I was like, all right, there's no way I'm going to play this song. It was not fit the vibe. But I could tell he was really excited. So what I did is I had a break song coming up in a couple songs. And during the break song, just automatically came on because I have everything kind of programmed to come on. I just kind of remembered it really quick. And I went over to him. I turned my mic off and I was like, hey, man, great request. Yeah, like love Pink Panther. That's a great song. And I literally just played it with my mic off just for him while there was like Spotify music playing. And he absolutely loved it. Didn't matter that it was mic'd, didn't matter that a completely different song in a different key was playing. So if you can just go over and just give them that little earbug they want to hear. I've done with that with Careless Whisper too, where like someone really wants Careless Whisper in the middle of cocktail hour. I'm not going to do it. And so sometimes I'll play it. I'll just riff it really quick. I'll come over to him and I'll riff it in the key of the song. And like, oh, he slipped it in there. So if you can find little things like that, people really love it. Yeah.
Tyler, I was really hoping you were going to hit him with the first 3 notes of Careless Whisper and then go into Rickroll.
Okay, that's a great idea. I'm going to do that soon.
I agree with everything you guys said. One of my first lines of defense is the couple, but I don't get defensive off the bat. I love the compliment the request. I love the posture that you guys take. It's very similar to the posture that I take, but I do let the couple drive that decision. And so I will know going into the day, whether that's playing live during cocktail hour or DJing the reception. I can't imagine someone's going to request a song of me right before the bride walks down the aisle, but you never know. Crazier things have happened. Instead of her song, could you play this song that I really like? You never know. Maybe that day will come, but I let the couple make that choice early on in our planning process. They know their friends and family really well. Sometimes that answer is an enthusiastic, yes, we would love for you to take their requests. Our friends have great taste in music. They'll remember stuff that we've forgotten, all that kind of intel. Or they will say, my crazy Aunt Betty is going to request this whatever song 15 times and shut her down. And so I will just be ready in advance, knowing that I have to politely shut Aunt Betty down 15 times. Yeah, I think just letting the couple drive that choice first and foremost is really helpful. And winning the room and complimenting the request, all that stuff, that's gorgeous too.
So many good tips here. This is wild. I have a weird story though, but we had our second DJ gig. The first one, it was like a breeze. It was like they wanted like all like 2000, like early 2000s, like anything with shoddy in it. And it was fine. Everyone was on the dance floor. It was amazing. And they were like salsa dancers. So it was like next level dance floor. And then the second one, they wanted all alternative music. And like, it was a weird one because the couples wanted this alternative music, but then the guests wanted like a bunch of other stuff. But whatever the guests wanted would like make the couple leave the dance floor, and then whatever the couple wanted would make the guests leave the dance floor. I don't know if there's a solution to that one. I think and after hearing from this, maybe you guys wouldn't agree. Next time we should probably take a little bit more of that advisory position of like, hey, like we could play this, but it might not hit with your crowd, and kind of make them make that decision beforehand. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think if your setup can accommodate it, like Tyler's ideas, I think is a great one, which is like, just put in. I have had the experience many times where someone asks me to play a song. I'm like, oh, I don't really know it. And the truth is, I know the chorus, but I don't know the verse at all.
Just give them a little.
If I just give them the chorus, they're happy. Like, know, and then, so if you can sneak that in somehow, if with live looping, it's you can do it, right? Like I can just kind of find something that works tempo wise, and I'll just like change up the chords slightly and do something. You give them a little homage and then go right back in, and everyone else will have no idea that I did it. But the person the request is happy. So if you can do that.
Yeah, I think like at the end of the day, both clients and guests alike just want to feel seen at the event. They want to feel like they were part of the day. So like I much like you, Tyler, we will definitely like mash in a chorus of something that we know might not really work for the room. But if we got them jumping on Mr. Brightside, we might throw in a Missy Elliott verse or a Missy Elliott, and it's kind of fun, and they turn around and they give you the, oh, I see you. When I used to DJ events many, many years ago, Allison, similar to yourself, I had a couple that literally told me on the call, we don't care if no one dances. This is what we want to hear. So I already knew going in, this was going to be the vibe, and they happened to want 90% like country songs that were all like really personal songs to them. So what I did at the time was I actually sourced of those country songs that they really wanted. About 50, 60% of them, I sourced remixes of them. And it kind of satiated their need because they're just thinking in lyrics and story and feel. but the people who did want to dance kind of got to do a little 4 on the floor and come out. And, you know, I can get the room moving a little bit with music that I knew wasn't going to really get them up and going, you know?
Right.
I would love to see DJ Rich in action.
It's been a long time. It's been a really long time.
I want to see country hip hop DJ Rich in action.
Yeah.
Tilt the cowboy hat sideways just a little bit.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
I mean, like, I didn't know that you DJ, but I'm not surprised. You're just full of so many cool things in your past. Next question here is from my friend Brenda, and she's asking about wedding pricing versus event pricing. So hot topic here. And it was a wedding coordinator that was asking her what her pricing was for weddings versus events. So it's kind of almost assumed when she was asked this question. So how do you guys, I know there's probably a lot of different approaches here, no wrong answers. But what's your guys' approach to pricing when it comes to different types of events?
I just think the best pricing model, and you guys can tell me if you disagree, is tell them a range. And if they're asking for specific event types, like what's a weeknight, cocktail hour for a few hours, give them a range. Because if you say it's this, then they're going to ask you for 4th of July or something. And then give a range for your bigger thing too. Like a full day wedding is this to this. If you answer in ranges and then say, hey, what's your date? What's your venue? What's your details? How many guests? Whatever. Because I've had this. I'm sure we've all had this where they're like, oh yeah, what's your just a cocktail hour thing? Turns out it's a 2-hour cocktail hour instead of 1 hour, and it's 350 guests. And so now your sound system is a very different thing. Like it's a whole different deal. And so if you answer like, oh yeah, cocktail hour is always this, you're kind of boxing yourself in. So give a range, ask questions, then give them the exact number. That's my answer.
Yeah. That's good. I agree with that too, Tyler. I would add from the way I handle that stuff too, is like the way I don't necessarily think in terms of like wedding event versus private event or corporate event. I tend to price just based on scope and operational load, so I do try to get some upfront information if I can, but I know sometimes, that's not where the conversation always starts. Have somebody walk up and they're like, well, what do you charge? If it's just like a little thing we're doing and you're like, it's probably not, because I saw the capacity that you saw us. And if you're asking, you're probably interested in something like this. So I very much agree with that upfront range to get like what I call like permissive selling, where they give you permission to then create a proposal for them. And I don't know if this was like if this was the specific goal of the question, but for me, weddings are typically a huge operational load that requires specific prep. There's going to be like many more one chance moments. You can't mess that first dance up, versus like a corporate holiday party where they might just want some holiday music and we can kind of go in and just craft the night just however we want to. That is sort of where I create my internal like price ranges, just kind of based on what we think the operational load is going to be.
I do charge more for weddings, and it's exactly the same reason. It's like, it's always a more operational, it's the highest operational load in my experience. Like I've done a few, high-end corporate events where the overall, what the overall quote is basically similar to what I've done for a wedding. And there are obviously, plenty of logistics and operational things in some of those events too. It usually pales in comparison to the most complicated wedding you're going to play. And the amount of coordination for a wedding, I was just talking about this with someone the other day, that I remember a wedding that really changed my philosophy on this, because I was charging about the same for my corporate stuff as I was with the weddings. It was around the pandemic, and we had to change the date because of the pandemic, and there were a lot of other logistics. And I remember looking back afterwards and realizing that I had exchanged 98 emails with this couple. It's like, you got to pay yourself for that time. It's an incredible amount of time. And it's not, not all those, right, were just quick 1-word emails. A lot of those you're sitting down and thoughtfully responding to specific queries and things. So there's a lot of work that goes into weddings that you just don't usually have with other kinds of events. So I think it's totally appropriate to do a separate pricing tier, but I love what Tyler said. And I still need to implement that more and learn from that, which is give them a range, right? Because I have definitely had that. I started laughing. I have a cocktail hour I'm doing this year that is part of a bigger wedding thing we're doing, but it's like a 2 hour and 15-minute cocktail hour. And I didn't know that going in for a number of reasons. I felt I had to stick with the original price, you know? And so, so that is a really good strategy. Don't go in with like a solid, you know, be honest and transparent about why your pricing is what it is, if they need to know that, but like, and you know, and know why you're giving the range you're giving, but definitely feel comfortable giving a range, I think, too.
Yeah, and I just want to speak to booking timeline as well as it relates to weddings. You know, corporate events, especially around the holiday party world, so all of a sudden it's September and every major corporation realizes that they have a month or two to plan their holiday party, and the emails come flying in, and you're moving heaven and earth to get a corporate party package together for them. But that's, you know, a month or two in advance notice. And in the wedding world, you were being asked to hold space on your calendar, oftentimes prime time Saturdays. That could be family vacation time for folks. That could be just time at home with your family or hiking in the woods or whatever people like to do on the weekends. You're being asked to hold those prime time weekend dates up to 2 years in advance in many cases. And I do think that there is a value added that comes along with that, because you are agreeing to work for someone on their wedding day and to put everything else that could possibly happen in your personal or professional life aside for that date. And I think there's a lot of value and there's a lot of trust in that. And I think people who trust the wedding vendors they hire, they're happy to pay for that guarantee that they're going to be there for you on your wedding day a year or two in advance. So I think it's okay that weddings, I think at the heart of that question is, I'm being asked why I charge more for weddings than I do for events, or is it okay that I charge more for weddings than I do for events? And I think we've unpacked some really great truths as the workload and the operational difference as it relates to those two topics.
That's so
Well
good.
said, yeah.
Yeah. For us, it tends to be that like the corporate events are longer, and then so we end up making just as much anyways, but like it's always so much more work admin wise when it comes to working a wedding. But such good tips that were shared here, guys. I'm gonna screen share. We're gonna do one last one, a post that we had in our community. It was a question for six-figure music pros: what advice would you have given yourself when you just got started? And then Rich, here you left this phenomenal response that a lot of people resonated with, but let's just riff on this for a little bit. I know it's a very open-ended one, but what comes to mind when you think of what you would have told your younger self when you were getting into the industry?
Honestly, I would say dream bigger. I don't think I dreamed big enough when I got into this industry. I don't think I gave myself enough credit. I don't think I gave the world around me enough credit. When I was in high school and college, I think the popular narrative around musicians is the question, when are you going to get a real job? And that question makes me laugh today. Or that question may have influenced my mindset early on, is that pursuing a life as a musician, even as a professional musician, it's thoughtful and intentional and well prepared. You know, I had a certain perception of that. And I don't think I knew just how big and beautiful this professional music world could be until I started inching into it. And, you know, it's interesting. You inchworm for so long in this world, and then all of a sudden you wake up and you're 10 or 15 years into this world, and those inches turn into miles. And so if I could speak to that, you know, OG Mike Medved from 2012 peeking into the professional music world, I would tell him, I see your dreams, and I want you to multiply them. Dream bigger, man. Dream bigger.
Yeah, I love that. I don't remember 100% because it was probably late at night, and I was like, let me riff on this topic in the community here. But so hopefully what I say is congruent with that post. But I think for me, what I would tell myself at I got into this business probably around like 22, 23 years old. And like what I would tell my 23-year-old self in specific regard to being a six-figure music pro. So a little bit of spirituality aside here. I would tell myself that talent is just the table stakes. Talent alone is not going to make you a six-figure music pro. It'll get you heard, it'll get you in the door, but I feel like the long-term success and the long-term sustainability of this business is really hinged on learning valuable skills like clear communication, leadership, business skills. Like to me, it was like I found the financial breakthrough happened when I located the exact coordinate where musicianship and energy management crossed. You know, so I overworked. I was over seeking approval. I was trying to be the most talented player that I could possibly be, just to blow minds, assuming that like some claw would come out of the sky and bring me into the next level, when in reality it really comes down to almost like loving the mundane, like just learning how to communicate, learning how to manage emotions, and guide people through a process so that they can trust that what you say you're going to do, you're going to do, and you're going to do it really well.
Man, those are both really good. Oh gosh.
No
I
pressure.
would say I remember when I first started, I was just so afraid. I kind of had like a mid-20s crisis, and I was working real estate. I just interviewed for a new position. They offered me the higher position with like an initial pay bump, and it was all lined up. Like, all right, like I'm going to take this next step in like real estate investment analysis. I've always been like a spreadsheet guy, and so I was evaluating that, and also kind of evaluating like, well, what do the next 5, 10, 20 years look like if I go that direction? I just kept coming back to music, and I declined the position, and I actually knew the owner of the company. He's a bass player. We met in like a very random jam group, and he just happens to be like the president of like this great real estate firm. So that's how things go sometimes. And he called me and he was like, hey, what happened? Like, we thought it was all like dialed in. Like, did we like offend you or something? And I was like, oh, no, everything was great. I just, I decided I'm going to try to become a professional musician. And he's like, great. You know where to find me if it doesn't work out. So I had started the whole journey, and actually I shouldn't say I started the whole journey. I putzed around for like a year and like read a bunch of stuff, and it was good to read things, but I didn't quite launch because I was afraid. I finally launched, put up some videos online, and started getting hired, and kind of like boned a couple events early on where like my mics didn't work out, the power went out, I like my reed got dried out, and I like squeaked at this inopportune moment right during the ceremony. So I just had some gaffes early on. And I remember driving home from this one event, and my buddy Andrew was with me. And he's actually been with me this whole time now, almost 9 years or so. And I was just like, man, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm cut out for this. And that's the closest I came to quitting. I really considered like, shoot, this isn't going to work. I'm just going to go back to doing real estate stuff. And somehow I didn't quit, and I just kept with it. And I would say one bit of advice that I took and that I would advise others is the only way you can lose is if you give up. And if you quit, if you exit the ring, you pulled yourself out of the game, and you never know what can happen in time. And like, believe me, I haven't made those mistakes again because they hurt so bad. So if you learn from your mistakes, you keep getting better and better and better. And then you get momentum, and then a new opportunity opens up. Oh my gosh, I got asked by Nike to do this thing. Where the heck did that come from? Sometimes that happens in like the second, the third year, the fourth year, the seventh year. But if you never got to that year, then you never, So don't get alarmed by other people's stuff that you see on the internet. Like I know I like will go on Instagram like, oh my gosh, everyone's doing all this cool stuff, and I'm sitting here doing nothing on my couch. And just, it's not real. Get out of virtual land. And I have a lot of other advice. Be a part of a community, know your why, be obsessive about every little detail. I can't go into all of those, but those are just some thoughts.
Cliffhanger for next time. That's so good. Thanks so much for sharing.
Yeah, it's hard. I think I kind of had it's hard for me to decide what like one thing would be, but I think I kind of think of my musical career as kind of a two-pronged thing. Like it's like two phases. Really, I've been playing music, like original music, with friends and in bands since I was a little kid. And so it's kind of a cliche, but I would say to that younger self, you really need to treat this more like a business. You're going to find the benefit if you treat it more like a business. And then I think I would have said to myself, once I started kind of going more into treating this as a business and doing it for events, I think I would tell myself, you really need to like play more music itself and like practice more and play, just do the actual thing more, because I think for me, it was very easy to get kind of hyper obsessed with a lot of the administrative aspects of running a business, and not, I don't feel like I feel like at times I lost touch with the thing the why, as I imagine Tyler would kind of would say, like I think I lost touch with why I actually enjoyed doing this. So so it's a little bit of both, right? I think we do have to go through these kinds of phases. So it's our own minds, our own brains can be pretty pluralistic sometimes, right? The reason you're doing something at one point in life might be completely different than the reason you're doing it at another point in life. So
that's so good. So much great advice here. You guys all give wonderful advice. So thank you so much. And I resonated with all of it so much. And like what you said, Mike, about thinking bigger, like I was in your shoes too. Like, I was in a very like artsy environment, but it was all like, everyone thought like, oh, this is just committing to being broke. And I'm like, okay, that's what I have to do. But I had no idea what was actually possible. And I think, it's important to, do what gives you energy. And understand if you're providing value for people and it's giving you energy, that's a great equation. So just trust that process. And like you're saying, Tyler, like stick with it and stay committed to the entire journey and have fun along the way. But okay, this was so fun. Thank you so much, guys. This was amazing. Thanks for all of our wonderful listeners, viewers out there. I hope you had a great time. We'll be doing it again sometime. So thanks for joining us, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.